Okay, on the same axis, we are required to sketch the graphs of y equals to 5 power x and y equals to 1 over 5 power. Okay, 5 power x, I think we have learned it before in class. So if it's a 5 power x, one way of the way, if you are not very sure how to sketch the graph, is that you can basically plot a few points. And we learned before in class that if it's a 5 power x, in general, our base a is more than 1, and we sketch y equals to a to the power of x. The graph will be exponentially increasing, right? It will be exponentially increasing, and it really goes something like that. Okay, so this is our x-axis, y-axis, and this is how y equals to a power x look like for a to be more than 1. Okay, so of course, most of you will be able to draw this graph. So you know that it probably looks something like that. Okay, probably looks something like this. Okay, so let me just put the question below here. So this will be y equals to 5 to the power of x. Okay, because the base is more than 1. So what about the second graph where it's 1 over 5 to the power of x? 1 over 5 to the power of x, even though it's a fraction, it's very easy for you to flip it into a base, which is more than 1. Okay, so in this case, even though we haven't really learned the case where the base is less than 1, between 1 and 0, we can actually convert this very easy. So, I mean, if we look at 1 over 5 to the power of x, 1 over 5 to the power of x, this is actually the same as, 1 over 5 to the power of 1, right? 1 over 5 to the power of 1, okay? And x, which is the same as 5 to the power minus 1, x, which is the same as 5 to the power minus x. So that means what I'm trying to tell you is that the 1 over 5x here is the same as 5 to the power negative x. Okay, so with that, right, you know that 5 to the power negative x, we have learned this. It's basically in our notes, right? It's just a reflection. Okay, maybe I didn't draw it very well. Let me just draw it again. Okay, basically a reflection. Okay, instead of 1, let me just write it this way. It's basically a reflection about the y-axis. Okay, and so here, when we label the graph, do write down the asymptote. Equation of theta is y equals to 0. Write down the intercepts. I believe the intercepts is 0, 1. Okay, so I think in part 3, they asked you to find the point of intersection. Okay, so we will go to that later. So what's the relationship between the two graphs? You can see that in part 2, basically they are reflections of each other about the y-axis. So they are reflections of each other about the y-axis. Okay? Can? Yeah. And with that, find the coordinates of point of intersection. Okay, I'll leave it to you. Now, very easily, I mean, if you really want to find a point of intersection, one of the ways you know that this point of intersection here is where 5 power x meets so-called 1 over 5 to the power of x, right? This is our part 3. And following this, right, it's very easy for you to try to solve this. I mean, if you have some trouble solving this, think about the fact that, this is like 5 power x equals to 1 over 5 to the power x, right? If you really want to solve, I mean, you can even use a substitution. Let u equals to 5 power x, the most easy way. U equals to 1 over u square equals to 1, u equals to plus minus 1. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Is that correct? Yeah. And so u square equals to plus minus 1. So that means 5 power x can be equals to 1, or 5 power x can be equals to negative 1. This will be rejected since 5 power x is more than 0. Now 1 will be the same as 5 power 0. So 5 power x equals to 5 power 0 and x equals to 0. Now substituting this, you will get x equals to 0 and y equals to 1. Okay, so I mean the x-intercept, I mean the y-intercept is always 0, 1. And the two graphs are related by reflection about the y-axis. The most important thing is to note that, well, how do you draw 1 over 5 power x in this equation? Even though we never really teach in class, but it's quite easy for you to flip it until the base is more than 1. And you can see that it's basically 5 to the negative power, negative x. Okay, thank you.